There, this is Off to Battle, and I'm doing a pretty rushed video in order to address the patch notes for Warhammer 3 version 3.0. And it's basically just out, and I'm a little bleary-eyed as I look this over, and I'm just going to take a good look and read starting from the general updates part. You can now preview the landmark buildings you'll get access to in a settlement by hovering over it. Nice. We've introduced a new pack file limit that increases the number of mods that can be hypothetically run simultaneously, barring any cross-mod issues. Nice. We've added a new panel that allows you to search for certain items on the campaign map. There are two categories of search options available: physical items and landmarks resources. Yeah. Good. Multiple buildings that were incorrectly marked as destructible have been upgraded game-wise, including those found within maps for the vampire counts, dwarves, dark elves, and more. Updated the campaign map battle selection for both Realm of Chaos and Immortal Empire's campaign maps to ensure that the correct battle tiles are displayed. Okay. Increase the effect of a Stranger Comes event. New regions and provinces have made their way into the Realm of Chaos and Immortal Empire's campaign maps of Warhammer 3. Okay. Because I was really thinking about that. Not only that, the Earth's place has shifted, causing some to find a new home elsewhere. Oh, okay. I'll tell you something that entered my mind as I was picking at the last big Kairos campaign I was messing with. I'm like, you're like a miscast actor. If you were actually somewhere else, then you'd be able to beat up on stuff your faction is better at fighting. Instead, I ended up against Pestilence and Rakarth, and it was like beasties and dinos and stuff everywhere. I mean, you can deal with it late in game, but it's not your preference. It's not easy at all. But anyway, you gotta do some real chaos in order to do chaos to the design of the whole map. Alongside the additions and relocations, several regions have had their borders adjusted. Certain settlements within those regions have moved around. You know, I don't mind any of that. I'm just curious because I haven't seen the map. Roads have been tweaked where necessary, and the sea lane has been added between River Ruin and the Frozen Sea. Okay. Missions that require the taking of specific regions now complete instantly rather than on the start of your next turn. Okay, yeah. Fix various land battle maps to prevent reinforcements arriving in inaccessible areas. Good. Fix an issue where sailing into two sea encounters will sometimes result in the second not working correctly. Okay. Various choke point areas of the campaign map to correctly load into ambush battles. That's a big deal, because we basically lost choke point areas, even if we were ambushing, even if Kairos was teleporting and somebody was on a bridge. But anyway, allied reinforcements now taking into account the military force bonus values. Okay. Dev note: wall settlement battles and battles in general have received some improvements in the form of AI adjustments. That's a dangerous assertion. Wall settlement battles in general with improvements to the form of AI adjustments. Okay. Battle AI and wall settlement battles, AI units will no longer double back on an approaching entity point and obstruct artillery units in an attempt to reform themselves. Yeah. Updating how attacking AI groups are distributed. Wall settlement battles to better take advantage of units capable of assaulting gates. Attacking AI artillery units continue moving forward when they should remain stationary to fire. Artillery units targeting breaches. AI units less likely to blob together. Remain coordinated upon entering a walled settlement. Okay. AI would think its units were at max health and they are not. So basically, you're trying to make the Chaos Dwarf stuff not look completely stupid. Alright. Nation settlement battles more mounted Lord AI became indecisive and that's going back and forth. Priority analysis of areas. Within the settlements, more reliably prioritize capturing and capturing capture points. That, okay. Defending AI becomes idle after morale breaks and flees instead of engaging with player units. Yeah. Assign multiple battering rams to the same gate assault group. Yeah. Wall breaching AI groups no longer share wall breach targets with other nearby unit groups. Okay. Outflank AI to handle flying units better. Yeah, I don't mind. Okay. Skaven aren't known for caring about the lives of their subordinates. War losses are an important part of the piece of for them to ignore them. Skaven leaders, of course, do care about losing battles, so there's clear evidence of plots against them. Okay. Of the peace evaluation calculation. Okay. Strategic threat calculations for immortal empires have been adjusted. Direct actions against an faction are now much more important than that calculation, and the importance of distance scaling has been increased, improving the way AI will select the most relevant threats. Okay. Because I was seeing how village in diplomacy that they didn't care about, like I transferred a settlement to them, and I was trying to get them to be at war with all my local enemies, and it sort of kind of worked over the very long term, but it's their main threat was the caravan of blue roses, and I'm like, how can you be losing to the caravan of blue roses? Lore of Zinch dominates against them, doesn't it? Isn't it custom made to just blow them away? Anyway, that's for a future campaign. Further tweaks AI recruitment priorities, favor higher value units, more weight on building or recruitment building if they are without one, fixed various cases that try stances were invalid. Okay. Okay. Trying to apply commands to provinces that didn't own. Okay, maybe that's just to speed up stuff when the ticker is going at the top of the screen during end turn. More accepting of vassalization. Okay. Incorrect behavior. Okay. Line of sight. Okay. Units attempting to walk through a destructible object rather than shoot over it. Okay. Lampstands, Dark Elf battle maps, market stalls, dance tables, or kingdoms, environmental objects, bones and carts. Okay. Wall collision on Dwarven maps. You know, I appreciate the effort here. I appreciate it. So, okay. Fix some general inconsistencies with the units having or not having the siege attack attribute. Lore of the Wilds, Mantle of Gorok. With the Chaos Dwarves here, we're adamant about improving quality of life for some of the other factions we've been struggling from the outset. Adjustments made to their starting positions. Okay. Zalming, Rhesus, Dehenowin, Krokgar, Tarok, Snickich, Helman, Gorst, Fae, Enchantress. Okay. Spells in general. Vangeist Revenge bumped up for costs. I mean, that's one that I've seen in Warhammer 2. And also with Kraken's Pull. I mean, those are damaging spells. Those are genuinely damaging spells. They can really devastate heavy units. Flame Storm, okay. Movement speed from 4 to 2. Angle per change of movement 70 to 360. Okay, so it'll move in crazier ways, but it'll move more slowly, and the explosion force is higher. Okay, and upgraded, it's the same deal. Because I can't claim to have used some of this magic stuff, so I'm only commenting on the stuff that I've actually been using. The Dwellers below actually got cost nerf. Pit of Shades a bit too. How can Pit of Shades have been 13? I mean, for the non-upgraded. Final Transmutation actually had its cost reduced slightly. Doom and Darkness reduced slightly. Curse the Midnight Wind. Actually, 11 to 9 is a pretty big deal. 17 to 15 upgraded, yeah. Wind Blast, 8 to 6. That's, yeah, that's interesting. Light of Battle, slight reduction. Final Transmutation got, double entry, but the max version of it, 28 to 26. That'll help Kairos when he's using it, too, with his, reduced winds usage for it. Invocation of the Hack, slightly more expensive now. Raise Dead, slightly more expensive. Master of the Dead reworked to be an intensity-based ability. What does that even mean? Intensity of the regeneration effects increases based on the number of entities that are killed within a 35-meter radius of a character with Master of the Dead. Okay. Okay, so it becomes the more meat in the grinder, the more regenerates. That's like a Chaos War Shrine. I don't have a problem with that. Bunch of stuff. Its items changes. Alright, factions. See if maybe I can put some kind of... no, I'm not gonna bother chaptering the video. Not until later when I have more sleep, or something directly in YouTube. Beastmen, not too many changes. Should benefit quite nicely from the upgrades to articulated vehicles that have... Articulated vehicles that have been made? Bestigor is a nice buff, underperforming across the board. Beastman unit capacity increased twice from the same effect is being fixed. Fix the Beastman follower. Blah blah blah. Thrall not being equipable in the World Hero. Capital border image is missing. Okay. Tarks and Oxyotls quest battles. Heart of the Dark not playing the intros cutscene correctly. Well, good. Good. Fix the campaign where the Beastman Hearthstone upgrades were not applying. Okay. Fix the Ruinous Stances, Hearthstone building, not providing additional dredge from fighting battles. That would be annoying. Not reducing Brave Shaman hero action costs, so that could be annoying. Clarified effects. Unique Hearthstone building available at Outdoor. Provides melee attack and fight against all human races rather than just Empire and Petrolia. Okay. Bestigor Herd. Leadership buffed, melee defense buffed. Cygor melee defense buffed. Bestigor Herd RR. Chariots and Mounts, Entity Mass 1400 to 2000. Okay. Tuskgore Chariots, Splash Attack Knockback Force Multiplier, Gold increased. RR Cygor, melee defense increased, but so as great weapons have a lower bonus versus large. Okay. Fixed Morpher's Herald of Corruption, blah blah blah. Nation Malagor Profiler will attack twice. Okay, so Malagor had issues. Okay. I, vaguely heard. World's Bane not giving open strength when fighting against all human races. Yeah, right. Bretonians have a tough, rough time lately, so to help a little, their late game cavalry has been given a few sturdy buffs. Okay. Additional diplomatic penalties between Corona and Marienburg. Okay. Bell Pilgrims. Cheaper. Grail Knights. Bit tougher. Bit tougher versus a bit stronger versus large. Grail Guardians. More attack. Hippogriff Mounts. Entity Mass increased. Pegasus Knights. Hit. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pegasus Knights have gone from 6,240 hit points to 6,264 hit points. Such a massive, gargantuan change. So thrilling. Their walk speed got increased, their charge bonus got increased significantly, minor buffs and other things. The run speed got increased significantly, charge speed got increased. Hippogriff Knights, mass increase. Royal Pegasus Knights got increased more. Entity Mass got increased. Yeah, okay. Battle Battle Pilgrims, cheaper again. Unicorn mounts. Oh, they were using the incorrect entity settings and this has been changed. Alright, alright. So we bonus, ruinous powers decree. That's correctly. Okay, cleaned up some stuff. Good, good, good. Pausing so I can sneeze a second. Alright. Hopefully I had my little sneeze. That's all I need. And cough drop to help with the throat, etc., etc. Human maintenance. Demons of Chaos. Haven't received that many changes. It doesn't look like it, but they do benefit from changes to the monogod rosters. Okay, because I am interested in those. Belcor received a few nerfs after our data showed him to be overperforming in most cases. Okay. Upgrade various items to provide a greater difference in the weapon effects. Okay. Visual quality of the Demon's Prince, Slanesh, and Forged Shields. Visual quality, so they look cooler? That's literally your general update. Okay. Why not? Added filters to the Demon Prince gear parts allow you to search, sort, and filter alignment by... Okay, okay. Because I've heard of that system, good to actually see it do something. Fixed Demon Prince resists reverence building chains. Okay. The Prince of Fury, less cost multiplayer, Bellacore. More cost multiplayer, more upkeep. Little less hit points. Some other multiplayer nerfs, not nerf. Well, they're really buffs because the multiplayer cost has gone down. Okay. Reinforcer gets an icon. Why not? Dark Elves in a pretty good place right now, battle-wise, indirectly hit thanks to a bug fix where riders and their war machines were firing more projectiles than intended. Okay. Skewing the performance of Scourge Runner Chariots and Bloodrock Collins. Okay, okay, okay. Notable buff to Shades, which should help diversify the weapon variants a little bit more. Okay, okay, because I used to be a heavy Dark Elves player in 2. Just because that the Marathi campaign was also a Hard as Nails campaign and I like challenges. I've seen what Scourge Runners can do. So, okay. FLC banner is not directly displaying. Barcaron has a faction leader on the map, as intended, okay. Okay, the Black Ark was only displacing water on one side. Disbanded Dark Elf Lords will no longer gain another name of power. Okay, that sounds like a bug. Black Arks can now recruit via allied recruitment. Yeah, that's... That's kind of big because they're your recruitment centers anyway. We worked Malice, Darkblades, Rise of Darkness, and Warp Sword of Cain battles. Fine. I've never played him. I've never actually played him. Handbows, Black Ark Crusaders, armor-piercing weapon damage was reduced. Okay, is that to just differentiate them? Bleak Swords, a bit more armor, less AP for melee. Okay. Hellbronze, Manticore, got more armored. Cold One Chariots, walk speed, buff, charge speed, slightly nerfed. Entity mass, significantly buffed. That's like almost 1.5 jump in mass. So they realize the chariots have a problem right now. Okay. That's good. That's good that they've addressed this. So a bunch of changes to their Dark Pegasus mounts, which... Well, the entity mass actually got reduced, but I don't mind that because they're not meant to be used like chariots. Okay, the High Beastmaster, entity mass. I'm not sure what this means, this double entry where you have 2 entity masses. Lokir gets some... Yeah, clear buffs to his mount. Malekith gets a little little bit of changes. Marathi, well, Dark Pegasus, of course. Hers has 1300 entity mass. Well, okay, that's Marathi. That's literally the difference between survival and being annihilated on the battlefield. For Karth, a little bit of a buff to his mount, well, fine. Shade's dual weapons turns to recruit 2-1. Yeah, that massively helps them. Shade's great swords turns to recruit 2-1. Yeah. Yeah, the dual weapons got significantly buffed, and the great swords got buffed a little bit, and that's fair. Updated the source input for Murder's prowess after this match the initial implementation. Dwarfs. As in, not chaos. The ones that aren't evil. Now that the Great Shame has finally reared its fiery bovine head, the dwarfs have upgraded the shields for all their melee lords. Here's an infantry along having their recruitment costs tweaked. Okay. Fixed pathfinding issues in both dwarven minor settlements to prevent us from burrowing under the terrain. Should I be thanking you? Fixed Thorum Grudgebearer being a wide elector count. Okay. Thoric Ironbrow has mission chain for confederating characters again. Okay. Can confederate normally, okay. Removing an agent from military forces now removes the correct activated actions. Okay. Intro cutscene for Thoric. Quest battle. Flame cannons. Multiplayer cost reduced. Miners blasting charges. They blast more, but they're less armor piercing. I'll live with that. Okay, so the shield upgrade is to jack it up from 35% to 55%. That's fair. They're not meant to be easy to rake with normal missile fire. Cafe doing pretty well at the moment. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't realize that. Okay. Okay, some... Entity mass adjustments, Dragon Bloated, multiplayer cost adjustments, jacked up. I guess Dragon Blooded Lords. Fire Rain, Rocket Artillery, hit points got slightly changed. Grand Cannon, same, Jade Warrior. Multiplayer cost reduced a little tiny bit. The minor tweaks. Miao Ying, multiplayer cost got reduced. War Compass, mass got increased. Skills, Blue Line, Convoy Masters, increased sale value of cargo will now function as intended. That... Yeah, I can see that if you're not able to use that properly, that will be a big deal. Green skins have benefited greatly in this patch. Is that because Grimgore is starting near Chaos Dwarfs? Savage Orcs and blah 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 received melee defense buffs, increased their staying power in combat. Pump wagons were severely underperforming, redesigned to help them stand out a bit from the other war machines. 12 entities per unit on ultra unit size instead of 4, so even more chaotic than before. So they're like skeleton chariots. Ragnarok spiders a bit more leadership and buffed their damage slightly because they were underperforming. Okay. Grimgore is once again at last not a big green boy. Okay. Whatever that means. Short victory conditions now include Chaos Dwarfs, fixed Goblin Rock Robbers. Now they have a projectile trail. Okay. We had unique garrisons and Skarsnik and Wurzak's main settlement and garrison chains. Good, I guess. Yeah, Ragnarok's got a solid buff. River Trolls, bit of an adjustment. Well, they're adjustments, yes, but tweaking. Nav Coffee. Goblin Great Shaman, that benefit. Run the Paunch. Entity Mass, 1300 to 1700. Okay, so Braum the Paunch wasn't massive enough. Okay. Goblin Wolf Rider archers can now fire in a 360-degree angle like Pistoliers. And so can Spider Rider archers. Okay. That's very interesting. That will... Wolf Chariots also. Yeah. You're greatly increasing their usability by doing that. Greatly. Okay, I see that you're changing around the Snoglings. War Chariots did not get a big entity mass buff here. Maybe they didn't need it, though. Okay, Savage Orcs, tougher. The Pump Wagons Flappos. Alright, that's interesting. It looks like you significantly weaken them because you have more of them. I mean, significantly, not in the sense they have no place. No, it's that you're adjusting for the fact that you do have more of them. Spiky Rollers. Charge bonus has been reduced, but you have more entities, and bonus versus infantry reduced because you have more entities. Armor piercing weapon damage has been reduced, but you have more entities. So we'll have to see how this works out in the battlefield. High Elves, few corrections and changes, overall performing quite well. So you say, okay. Cost correction, Chariots also benefiting from a mass increase. Okay. Remove flaming attacks from dragon melee weapons so that they remain competitive against this new race of fire-resistant units. Okay. The breath is considered to be a flaming attack. Well, it should be. It should be. Okay. Campaign issues being fixed. Capture points being fixed. Alistair on his chariots, entity mass 800 to 1400. That's a lot. Enric's fire resistance has been reduced from 40 to 25%. Because I've seen what he can do to just nullify Zinj Force in multiplayer. There, I saw a video on that. The Lion Chariots, in general, have that mass increase. FMR Chariots, 700 to 1300 entity mass increase, okay. Okay. War Lions are just plain tougher now and will have more mass, okay. Khorne! Only minor changes, watching closely since they target some of Khorne's key units. Okay. Fleshhounds, Minotaurs overperforming. Lowlayers and Forsaken receive a small buff. Okay, noted. Chosen of Khorne has made it slightly cheaper to make them more accessible options. Noted. Noted because I have a couple that I allied recruited from Starbrand before I got destroyed in my last Kairos campaign. The one where I was fighting Pestilence and Rakarth. Okay. Kislev. Kislev hasn't been doing great in battle recently. You noticed! Okay. First step towards improving things. Armored Cossar, Starguard. Some melee buffs. All Kislev cavalry get a mass bonus, smashing other contemporaries. Ice Guard have also gained some additional missile penetration. Okay, Costilin has less factions at war with him automatically, and less people hate him automatically. Okay. So a bunch of tweaks. Good. See what they do. Heavy war sleds, entity mass 1800 to 2200. That's interesting. That's interesting. Horse archers less expensive. Okay, okay. We'll have to see how these work. I haven't used Kislev stuff since trying the intro of the game. Lots of cost changes for Lizardmen. Most of them be dinos getting a slight discount. Yeah, this way we needed more dinos. Well, you know, more dinos are cool. Buffed up croc scores a bit so they're sturdier. Fair. Ancient Salamander received a recruitment time reduction, among other buffs, which should help with thriving campaign. Fair, because they've always been underperforming. And then the Regiment of Non-Quaddle, its balance spells got changed to make it more viable. Okay, fine. Post-battle captive options for fighting against Chaos races will match what they got in Warhammer 2. But yeah, okay. Fair. As a guy who plays Chaos a lot, that's fair. So they got some tweaks and changes and stuff. Chameleon Stalkers, very slight multiplayer cost reduction. Not enough coffee. Gelbloom's Terror, slight reduction in cost. Yeah, there's just a lot of similar stuff. It's just my eyes are glazing over. Croxagores, yeah, I would use regular Croxagores now with that. Blessed, also doing better. Sacred, yeah. Ancient Salamander, that's going to be a huge advantage for recruiting them because the launch velocity for their rounds is going to be increased from 55 to 70. Good. Because I remember how slow they can be. Norska receive a few targeted buffs to this on their underperforming units. Now are cheaper, familiar, get their scaly skin bonus from tabletop and marauder champions. With great weapons have been ironed out a bit. Ice Wolf Chariots also receive a considerable buff to their missile weapon. Fair. I hope that they are not super underperforming. Nurgle hasn't been feeling great for a while. I've heard that. I've avoided them because of that. So we've targeted some changes and some problems here. Rotflies, Plague Drones, Plague Toads, Pox Riders see some pretty considerable buffs. Speed reduction from the Mark of Nurgle has been removed, making the marked mortal units of Nurgle more effective at reaching their destinations on time. Okay, so Nurglings, max entities hit by splash attack 3 to 1. Splash attack knockback force multiplier 0.2 to 1. Okay. So a lot of knockback, but not against everybody. That's... Their gymnastics will be effective, but only against selected enemies. Because you know how they're like a gymnast team? Okay, yeah, a lot of changes to the Plague Toads. Well, fine. And there's just going to be a lot of redundant stuff with the speed changes. A lot of stuff. Ogre Kingdoms haven't been doing too great in Battle of late, so some work is needed to bring them into scratch. Greasus has a proof token buffs. Blah, blah, blah. Ogre Pistols, Cavalry have received some attention to give them a bit more impact across the board. Artillery have received a maneuverability nerf in exchange for a mass buff to emphasize their roll a bit better. Artillery. Okay, artillery. Okay, zipping past this, I'll just have to try them sometime. Skaven, dev note. These changes don't exist, but if they did, they'd go something like this. Poison Wind, Globadiers, and Moors have had their AP ratio flattened out a bit, while Doom Needles, Plague Monks, and Sensor Bearers have received some buffs to make them more valuable. But these changes do not exist. Okay. Okay, some tweaks around here. I mean, there were some interactions that needed to be fixed. Crash on the Hell Pit battle map. That's annoying, you know. Throt has it bad enough in that neighborhood without his own place crashing his game. Okay, Doomwheel getting some general buffs here. There's some mortars. It's very much a tweak. Very much a tweak. Okay, there was a placeholder string in Snick's skill run and decay. I'm a mess manually that. Not enough coffee. Slanesh performing really well for a while thanks to a few cornerstone units. Okay, so they rebalance the scales a little bit. The reduction of the physical resistance bonus on all units with the mark of Slanesh. Make their moral frontline a bit less oppressive. Okay? Okay. But it looks like that you've tweaked armor in some places and stuff. Yeah, you've tweaked, like, the units of Slanesh armor from 5 to 10. Which, you know, it doesn't sound much, but when your armor is literally 5, it actually is a big difference. I mean, that's a doubling of the armor that you have. What else? Chosen of Slanesh. I see. If you had Chosen with 10% physical damage resistance, that would get silly. I mean, in a good way, but... I've also heard that the Health Scourges, yeah, contact effect added poison. And I approve of giving them a place in the game. The Empire. Demigryph Knights have been the focus of Empire's changes in this patch. They were underperforming? Okay. Luminarch received a considerable buff, with its reload time now halved. What? Okay. Ammunition for war wagons have been tweaked. Okay, okay. So it displays your ammo differently, but we'll have to see how it works out, because Luminarchs, I mean, for all that crazy damage that they can do, they're not as accurate as they were once. France's quest battle for Beast Slayer is now winnable. Okay. Okay. Not sure how I should take that, but... Gelt, his Quicksilver mounts, it's got the Marathi Entity Mass buff. Okay. Bright Wizards have flaming attacks for melee. Nice. Demigryph Knights... Splash attack knockback force multiplier is the big one that got increased, actually. The other stuff is tweaks, but they help, yes. Okay, Luminarchs are slower but beefier. A little slower and beefier. Volkmar, anti-mass 900 to 1600. Well, it was silly how you could trap him, so... Okay. Wait a minute, why are there 2 entity mass entries? But they moved to 1600 both cases, so whatever. Witch Hunter got an armor buff, okay. Tomb Kings, there aren't many changes for the Tomb Kings this time around. Okay. Chariot rework, well, I approve of that. They needed that. They really needed that. These are not crazy increases at all, but, you know, they have such a large amount of entities that I imagine that would be helpful to them. Tzeentch. Okay, since I've been doing a lot of stuff, doing relatively okay across both Land Battle and Domination. There's a few targeted changes here. Discs receiving more mass, Flamers receiving more projectile velocity, and Chosen becoming a bit cheaper. Okay. Disc of Zinch mounts, entity mass 500 to 1300. That's a big change. Burning Chariot, 1400, 1800. That's nice, because I just put up a video about flamers, and so I emphasized that the Burning Chariots are really interesting in melee. Okay, the Pink Horrors, leadership 60 to 65 and armor 15 to 25. That's an actually big change, because it makes them a lot more resilient. They have, like, literally half the entities of Blue Horrors, okay? So if they don't have some kind of staying power, they basically are just, you breathe on them a little bit more than Chaos Furies and they die. Flamers, projectile velocity. You know, they're not going to get any more accurate like that, but projectile velocity still will have a big impact on how they're tracking the broadside of a Hell Pit Abomination. And in that video, I showed 2 Exalted Flamers firing at the broadside of a Hell Pit Abomination. It was horrible! It was just horrible! Chosen recruitment cost 1400 to 1350, upkeep cost 350 to 338 base. Yeah, and with the halberds down 100, upkeep cost 375, 400 down to 375. That's a big deal. Chaos Knights base weapon damage got a buff. Armor piercing weapon damage got a buff. That's gonna help. I mean, they're base weapon damage monsters basically anyway. That's their whole point. The Lances ones got the same sort of boost, but their whole thing is the charge bonus. So even though that they're not tilted super towards the armor piercing, they're still inflicted. So things that aren't super high armor, they can really devastate if they hit hard, especially in charges. So Doom Knights entity mass 800 to 1000. That will be a definite help, because they're usually going up against infantry formations or stuff like that. Vampire Coast, doing fairly well. Changes only focused on their overperforming units. Gunnery Mob now the standard 90 range for handgun units. They didn't? Animated Hulks received a considerable change in Silostras, and Animated Hulks back in 2 were not good. Knights Errant Summon no longer uses Lance Formation. Mongols have received a big buff across the board, though, with additional attributes to improve their utility. That's okay. Pirate Ship no longer shows its technology on the tooltip breakdown. Okay. I didn't know that the Gunnery Mob was that long range. I feel like they weren't at some point. You nerfed the melee attack frequency of deck droppers. Were deck droppers overperforming? Morngul, Hunter, Hide and Forest, Strider. That's interesting. Mornguls in general, Hide and Forest, and Strider. Okay. Animated Hulks. Okay. Seriously? They were overperforming to that degree? I had no idea. Vampire Counts have been overperforming across the board. These tweaks mainly target healing abilities and crypt horrors, as a combination of regeneration and high HP pool made for a truly formidable unit. Okay. Graveguard, Black Knights, magical attacks removed. That sounds like a big deal. So they have to rely more on AoE abilities in order to deal with physical resistance. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. Okay, Warriors of Chaos, not too many changes. Changes to mortal units on the other monogod rosters also apply to them, so like Nurgle, blah blah blah. Base stats of Chaos Knights have been improved, as they were underperforming slightly. Dragon Ogre, Shaggas also receive some buffs, so that they're a bit more viable, because they were the go-to units in 2. Yeah. What else? Treemen have been heavily adjusted. Okay. Currently underperforming. Receive buff to the weapon strength, HP knockback multiplier. Wild Riders, bit of a mass buff. Okay. Hawk Riders. Bit less paper thin in melee. Okay. Yeah, just breeze past these. Yeah, the Hawk Riders got a buff and also made them slightly more expensive, which is, you know, completely fair. Okay, okay. Campaign general updates. Fixed an issue where gold was being awarded from the mission target. The mission target, says the mission owner. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Prologue. Soft log after embedding a frost maiden into your army during the prologue. Okay. Reduce the number of factions that war with the Ice Spread at the start of a Realm of Chaos campaign. Visibility of Chaos Realms is not currently saved upon reloading a game. Okay. In the cases where a faction had mission-driven confederation, a small boost is implied to the confederate faction, making it less likely to die while attacking to complete the mission. Okay. Okay. New endless survival battles. Okay, I'd heard people wanting this sort of thing. These battles cannot be won. Okay. Okay. Battle maps improve. Quality assurance sweeping of many maps. Track down some of the problems. Yeah, okay. All I'll say is that I appreciate the effort and more of this, please. Looks like a lot of stuff. Floating asset issues on the Bloodfen map, you know, cliff blending issues in the corn wastes. Sounds like a lot of stuff. Settlement battles, a lot of stuff here too. And they affected everybody because you conquer everyone. That's what Total War is. Okay, just so many tweaks. My eyes are glazing over. Okay, so what they mean by articulated vehicle collision overhaul. Rework affects all units that pivot when turning, such as chariots and war wagons. Previously, the effective collision of an articulated vehicle was governed by a single collision volume. This meant that when an articulated unit such as a chariot was turning or colliding with enemies, the logical conclusion was not represented by the actual 3D unit visual. You mean the logical conclusion that when you hit stuff with a stagecoach, that the peasants are sent flying? I think that's what they mean. We attempted to fix this back in Warhammer 2 during the Sons of the Fury DLC, temporarily leading to some very overpowered Tuskgore and Razorgore chariots. Yes, and you backed off from that, then chariots sucked. Okay. So, articulated entity, yeah. Mount, animal, pulls the vehicle, engine. Okay, fine, but the articulated entity alone was colliding with friendly and enemy units. This meant that the collision block had to be relatively large and encompass the entire unit to make the collision fair. We don't want it to be fair, we want it to be awesome! The other collision volumes of the Mount Rider engines were only used for colliding with the incoming projectiles. This led to problems with the units were attempting to turn. Yeah, attempting to turn. The large white box in this image is the articulated enemy collision area because this was the only part of the vehicle that collided with other units. These units experience difficulties when turning while surrounded in melee. No kidding! Leading to situations where they would get stuck. No kidding! In patch 3.0, the articulated entity mount engine collisions all work in conjunction with each other when colliding with mini units. Okay. Okay. So what they mean is that you're being blocked by stuff in this invisible oblong object. We'll call it a pill. And then here you have the engine being its own thing, articulated entity being its own thing, and then the mount 1, now mount number 2. So, in other words, in this, okay, this is what I'm getting from this on No Proper Coffee. That is, this would send things flying, and this would halt the chariot. And here, this will send some things flying, this will send a lot of things flying, and this will send some things flying, this will send some things flying. And yes, certain things placed here, here, and here might help slow down the unit, but it's still going to be flinging the peasants this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. Because the stagecoaches hitting peasants should send them flying. It's just a matter of mass. The vehicle is a lot more representative of its visual model. Helps articulated vehicles moving through enemy units, but also presents more opportunities for enemies to attack as well, since they are now also able to attack any part of the effective collision instead of attempting to crowd around and hit a single collision block. So you can do some damage, but if they're able to pull out, it's completely fair, in theory. Far-reaching in scope, long-standing, invisible, and overall negative element for articulated units. Yeah, well, I really appreciate this. Okay, Lord of Fire visual update. You don't mean lore of... They put Lord of Fire, but they mean lore. Okay. Every spell receiving new visual effects and audio treatments. So that's why... This is gonna break all my old games anyway. I'm really glad I put that Flamer video out, because some of that includes Cultists of Tzeentch using all big fire spells. When you have a Burning Head and an Infernal Gateway and Exalted Flamers and Pink Horrors firing at roughly the same targets, it's quite an effect. Flaming Sword of Ruin now features an actual sword. Towering Flamestorm. Towering, okay. Which means that it'll more easily hit flying targets, maybe? Okay. Graphics, Chaos Trolls. Okay, Flaming Magical Attack Visualization. Okay, they will now have spawn a minor VFX on afflicted enemies to telegraph it. I'll see that a lot with Tzeentch. With Kairos. Okay, Chaos Trolls, Armored Chaos Trolls, faction colors no longer misaligned. Fixed floating assets that are plaguing Nagaron. We were terrorists, them clipping through each other. Chariots were clipping through each other. Okay then. Characters no longer vibrate with excitement when clicking on their character flag during the movement. Okay, that was... For Slaanesh, that would get weird. A bunch of stuff. Yeah, this looks like a lot of graphical bug adjustments. Fixed floating rocks, cliff assets, shrubbery, detail, terrain blending issues, and terrain gaps in the chaos waste. Okay. Because your floating rocks have to look cool. Alright, lots of stuff here. I appreciate this. I really do, because there's a lot of stuff like this. A lot of stuff. Few lords and heroes weren't correctly having audio focus on them when the camera is close. Missing audio, missing audio, missing audio. Slaanesh have whipped out the WD-40 and improved the smoothness of their chariot spinning wheels. That's the oil, right? Wait, there's Slaanesh. What are they using it? I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to know. New missile block icon. Alright. Single unified icon, I don't mind because... you've improved with the dwarfs, so they'll be getting like silver shields type stuff. I'll have to check to see if the Chosen of Tzeentch actually block at 60 instead of 55. Because they were blocking at that, as compared to Chaos Warriors. Number of settlements owned and not correctly displayed. So this is a lot more bugs. Okay, text and translation, localization as well. I'm all for good localization, people. Underworked Japanese translator, yeah. And that's all she wrote. Compiling this has taken years off our lives. It's okay, just make the proper sacrifices to the dark gods, and everything will be okay. We thank you for joining us on this voyage. Apologies to the vocal cords for any who foolishly chose to verbalize these patch notes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I only did some. However, this is just the start. Keeping a close eye on your feedback, and can in fact confirm that update 3.1 is actually very rapidly approaching because there's... Okay, they actually get more stuff to deploy than they can fit in this release. Fair? I hope it's not all just fixing stuff that's been broken by this, but, you know? This is stuff I wanted to see. This is absolutely stuff I wanted to see. And we end with the see you on the battlefield. Yes, you will see me on the battlefield. Alright, this has been Off to Battle. I'm including in the description my brand new coffee site. It's like Patreon, but this buy me a coffee, that sort of thing. And it's because that my financial situation is pretty laughable, and to make more of this stuff, to make reaction videos, to make the 4K stuff that I'm throwing up about flamers of Zainshall varieties and all that stuff, it would really help, but it's not like I'm not trying to get help in real life for this stuff either. It's just that everything that comes in that helps is massively, 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 massively appreciated. So anybody who sends any help, arigatou gozaimasu, and I will try my hardest to return that with renewed effort to make good videos and to be informative and hopefully enjoyable also, and hopefully usually add more coffee. Alright. Take care. Have fun. Because that's the idea behind gaming, right? It's the idea.